Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be talking about, characters in the coin shop and which festivals do I believe that are worth it to get duplicates of, because some of you may have some coins that you may want to spend, of characters you're not too sure you want to level up. For example, Cusack, you may have like 4 copies of Cusack. Let's just say you pulled 4 extra copies of Cusack, so you've currently got 4 festival coins, and you're not sure what to spend it on, or you've got several and you don't know who to spend it on. I'm going to go for my recommendations. Of course, people may have other opinions on which characters are good and which characters are not worth it, but I'm going to go over through my experience of being a very long time free-to-play player and what characters I believe are worth it, whether they're for PvE, PvP, or just overall just to have the one copy of them because they're good for a specific thing. So first we're going to start with, at the top, we got Lost Vein Melee. I did pick him for free. I didn't actually get hit. I've never pulled him once. I literally picked him for free when we had the Broken Griamore pick event thing. I picked him because I didn't actually have him. It was mainly for the GP points because I was, of course, grinding GP points at the time. Goddess Liz, I have 5-6. She is very good. But I'd say you definitely need a high ult level, and especially in today's meta, having her low ult level means completely nothing, as her ultimate at 5-6 and 6-6, it's completely different to having 1-6. Like 6-6, she reflects more damage than she takes, and she practically heals back all of the damage she takes if she survives. And that's for your entire team, of course, at 6-6 when she pops the ultimate. She does have a stun and a shield card, which can be useful, but of course there are other characters that do have shield cards, well, Green Melascula, Green Merlin, they both have utility as well of removing ult gauge. Okay, and now you have OG Fest King, so I have pulled him. I did actually pull him, I didn't actually have to buy him. On release, he was very good, but there are a few problems, and I would say nowadays there's a lot better Abyss characters. Cusack is actually not one of them, but of course he is an Abyss character, and his Abyss is pretty strong. But you've got people like Freya and Rimuru, who are both unknowns, and in my opinion, Unknown Abyss is better than Fairy Abyss, as Unknown to a lot more supporters. For example, if you were doing an ult rush on a final boss, you can use Rimuru with Green Merlin in the back. Let's just say you have Green Merlin's Relic. That's 35% increased damage to unknowns. Sorry, by unknowns. So that means Rimuru now does 35% more damage, as well as him being, let's just say you have 4-6, or you've also got Festival Gotha buffing his damage as well. It's a lot of extra damage. And then we have the One. He was free quite a while ago. If you don't have him, don't worry. He's not actually that good anymore. Comparison to the Ultimate One, and of course you've got Freya now as well, who has an Abyss Ultimate. Sorry, not an Abyss. Death damage ult, so you just use him instead. OG Fest Merlin, she comes back in meta every now and again, but she's not actually that broken. Her ultimate is 6-6 is like decent, but the difference between 1-6 and 6-6 is also pretty large, so if you don't have her, no point really going for dupes. If maybe for like 1 copy off and you want her 6-6, then yeah, go for it. But it's not actually that good because the ultimate is still like 20% of like the damage you deal with shield, which isn't actually that strong if you think about it. Moving on, we have Poketro Barn. A very strong 6-6 ult, but of course if you're not 5-6, you don't really need a copy of him. He's not in meta. Even when let's say humans came back into meta, when Reinhardt came back, with a support character on the team, or he wasn't on the team at all. That was what the meta was, because he's not actually that good. If you do not have Fest Gotha, I would definitely recommend getting at least 1 copy of him. He is such a phenomenal PvE, PvP character. Everywhere he performs, his passive is good, his relic is insane. If you don't have a copy of him, I highly recommend getting a copy of this Festival Gotha. If you do, don't go for dupes, it's not worth it. It's pretty much only a PvP thing. PvE, it does nothing apart from a little bit of extra damage. It's also based on max HP, and it has no stupid effects at 6-6. For example, Barn has Rupture at 6-6, Liz has Revive for 2 turns at 6-6. This guy just removes all cards from hand, and if they have ultimate, they lose all gauge, but of course this is only in PvP. Moving on to Fest King. This guy, even getting 1 copy of him, very good, and I would recommend going for dupes. He is so good at 6-6 for PvE, especially for dogs if you're using the cheese team, or you're using him for farming, or you're using him for PvP even. The difference between a 1-6 king and a 6-6 king in PvE, or even a 3-6 king in PvP is stupid. It goes from like 2% increased damage per buff or debuff, to 50 or 40% or whatever it is. My king is only 4-6, but I'll definitely recommend it if you can. With Queen Diane. Queen Diane, if you've watched my channel for a while, I'm a big fan of Queen Diane. She hits so hard. In my opinion, I would say she can probably out DPS. I want to say her ult can probably hit harder than this Merlin at 6-6. If your Diane takes a lot of damage, you've got Reptile Link, you've got a stance up, you know, your passive's nearly max, and you're probably hitting over 1 million. Because she is so strong. She is a win condition on my team in PvP, because how hard she hits, of course she hits hard everywhere. Because, you know, she can take damage, a lot of damage in a lot of things, especially, you got OG Demon, so back in the day she was very good for OG Demon. She still is good for OG Demon if you don't have Summon Merlin. No, not Summon Merlin, Summon Diane, sorry. And her ult can hit damage cap on hell, you know, she's insane. And me and my friend, as a joke, we both we put a lot of diamonds into this Diane because, you know, she is very good. And he made an attack, I think attack defense set, and he was nearly able to one-shot the second phase on hell. It's actually pretty funny. But yeah, she's a very good character. I'd recommend getting Dupes for her, and if you haven't got her, she's definitely a good character to pull. PvE, PvP, very good. This Merlin, currently only got 1/6. My friend does have a 6/6, and he is a whale, but he said that she is very good. But from what I've seen on videos and stuff like that, she isn't the best. Of course, she is now more of a support character for Unknown rather than a DPS. Of course, if you do get max of Elemental, whatever it's called, her AoE does do a lot of damage. Her ultimate isn't actually that strong unless it's 6/6, which is a slight downfall. But apart from that, she's not too bad. Of course, having a copy of her would be good, mainly for the fact that if you have Philo or, you know, Unknowns come into meta again with debuffs. Of course, one of her debuffs are lower crit chance by 100%, you know, and that wouldn't work on the Ultimate 1 or a Goddess team now with Mael. But she has Stun, Attack Disable, and Combustion, I think it's called, or something like that, where they lose 50% of their max HP, which is pretty broken. Of course, it does take 2 turns to get it, and, you know, if they have Margaret, they maybe have to cleanse it, but as long as you have a Gotha debuff card, you should be fine. Festival Gotha I'm talking about here. AM Melee, I'd say it's definitely good to have a copy of, because there's one boss where you literally just use AM Melee by himself, and you can just do so much damage, you get first place. This is like a 4v4 boss, and of course, with AOT, AOT did have a 4-man like boss battle, which is, you know, he might be good in. I don't know. AM Melee wasn't out on global at the time. AM Melee didn't come out till like 6 months after AOT disappeared, but I reckon he probably would have been good at the time for it. Of course, AOT characters still might be better, as you know, when they come back, they may have completely reworked, stuff like that. Festival's always a good one to have at least one copy of. Of course, if you are using him a lot, you may want to get a few more duplicates just for the box EC, but I would definitely recommend at least getting one for him, as his relic is good. I don't actually have his relic, but I know his relic is very good for PvP. And the fact that he can increase basic stats, of course, you might be using him on an Unknown team if you don't have Nanashi's relic, or you know, you want to lower their stats a little. Nanashi is a very good back character, though. I do give him that. It definitely outshines this Eldris. Margaret as Goddesses are back in meta again. If you don't have one copy, definitely go for a copy of her. She's very good. Duplicates, she does need to be 6/6, but the utility she can provide at 6/6 is actually insane. She goes from being a useless character between 1 and 5/6 to 6/6. I want to talk about useless, talk about her ultimate-wise, because it's a single target. Single targets aren't really that prevalent nowadays. Between 1 and 5/6, her ultimate is like doo-doo. 6/6 disables all their cards for 2 turns, immediately broken. Very useful, and is a literal win condition on some teams. I hate versing 6/6 Margaret. If you don't know, my Margaret is only 3/6. I barely ever pull her. Mainly the festival characters I pull are like, I have Queen Diane 6/6, I probably pull lots of copies of her. Barn, you know, these two pretty frequently as well. Cusack I've never pulled, and I don't really care about him. At the time against Barn, he was decent, but he could still be completely destroyed if he had max out gauge. He's still not too good. He has a Power Striker single target ultimate, but at 4/6 it does become Abyss, and then of course the damage goes up at 6/6 as well. But I would still say he's a decent character. Like, he's good for Bird, like back in the day if you're missing a few characters. But he's not really that worth it, especially even for dupes. I would just say use the dupes for, I don't know, a copy of Margaret or a copy of AM Melee. Because AM Melee, he's not the worst festival ever. He can still be good for that one event, or, you know, if somehow Stat Lower comes back, which I'm guessing Stat Lower is completely gone from meta again now, mainly because of, you know, the Ultimate 1, and then they add bloody Goddesses that have full immunity. But of course this is in PvP. PvE is a whole different story. His passive does not work in PvE at all. Literally only works in PvP, and only works depending on how much their max HP is increased, which isn't that good. Of course it does affect your entire team, which is useful, but of course it is PvP only, so it's a little bit restrictive, not really that good. Estarossa. Okay. So if you don't have a copy of Estarossa, he's probably one of the best ones to get at the moment, because of course demons are still meta, and he's very good in demon team. But at 6/6, he's very powerful. His ability to like completely nuke the field with an ultimate is insane. Of course, he does require to lower stats, but he doesn't actually need to lower stats, as he does damage based off of those debuffs, not the actual debuffs themselves. So the debuffs don't do any damage, but they lower stats, and he does damage based on how many debuffs, stances, buffs, and darkness stacks are on the enemy. He's also very good for darkness, PvE. At one point, I was using Estarossa on my bird team, as he could increase the damage dealt, and he does increase all people's stats. So darkness can only be applied by demons, but it buffs everyone, which is what I really like about it, is that yes, it's selfish in the fact that you require demons, but it's selfless in the fact that it helps everyone. If you get what I'm trying to say. Of course, it is max stacked to 10 times. If you're using it on Demonic Beast, you can only really get 5 stacks because of it caps at 5 stacks per enemy. That means you only have the 5 stacks instead of being able to get the 10, which is what you can max stack at in terms of buffs. But also, having darkness also increases the damage dealt, so on Demonic Beast it can be pretty useful, especially if your team isn't the highest of DPS. But do bear in mind that, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure after every phase the darkness all disappears, so you have to restack it every time. If you have characters like Trey and Melee, you'll be completely fine with that. But that's it, of course. That is my opinion. I do hope at one point they do decide to add the Dark and Light characters into the shop and make it so they are festival coins and not, light and dark coins. Because if they do the light and dark coin thing, it's going to be outrage, because you can use them to buy these characters, so I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to do so. But, it's Netmarble. Let them do their thing. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.